Is you guys clicked on this video to try to improve at using Arc Hunter and harder content. This is quite simple, but takes a little bit of practice. I'm going to go through every step to show you guys how to do this. It means so much to me to have you guys here, and I'm going to get on to what we're using, how to do it, and everything you need to do to be a good Arc Hunter for your teammates. Thank you, and let's get into this. I'm going to show you a little tutorial on how to do this after. Don't worry, it's not the most complicated thing, but it's a little bit to get your head wrapped around. So first, we're going to be running Bomber, which gives you like a good amount of energy after dodging. Which with the new dodging stuff, like getting a melee kill and then dodging, you get your whole like dodge back. And then we're using 4 melee well makers, and we are also using Well of Ions. If you really want to, I bet you could literally just run if some way you can fit Striking Light instead of another well maker, maybe that's better, but I do like my more ability energy. But this worked out for me, and I worked out with 100 resilience. I don't think 100 discipline is needed, but you should have it pretty high. We're using blinding nades, so if you don't have any blinding nades left from your flashbangs, you can use that. I love this new super, the Gathering Storm super, as always. The aspects, just flow state and lethal current. Lethal current's like one of the craziest things I think they've ever added. The dodge jolting thing is absolutely insane because you hit a jolt on them and then you can blind them and hit harder content. I'll go into a little bit more in depth on the process of doing that to like an orange bar and like how you kill an orange bar with the melee build. Because after the Arc 3.0 changes, it's really possible and very easy to do with the blinding. For the rest of the fragments, as normal, we're using Spark of Resistance. I love Spark of Shock because I can use it with Spark of Ions and make more Ionic Traces, which give you more nade energy, which is just more stacking. Spark of Feedback, extra 10 resilience, and that extra melee damage is going to really help. Liar's Handshake, any build, is going to really make it easier to get melee kills. I love Blinding Nades, so underrated. You're going to see how crazy the spamming is. With the Bombardiers and the Impact Induction, you're going to be meleeing and dodging and getting both your grenade energy back, and then you're going to get the wells. So, in some situations, you can get like 5-second blinding nades, and you can constantly use them. This is so useful, and this works from any of the exotics. This is not like a one exotic build video. You can use this with Liar's Handshake, Assassin's Cowl, Bombardiers, even Star Eater Scales works. If Star Eater Scales, you might want to try out some different mods with the, there's a mod in here that, yeah, when you're amplified, rapidly killing enemies creates orbs of power, and if you use that, you can get a bunch more orbs of power for, Star Eater Scales, and you can put some healing stuff on, so when you pick them up, you heal. That's really, really useful and super underrated. The orb of power thing is very nice. It is very fast. You have to get those rapid kills, but that's really it. That's the baseline build. I'm going to show you the exact little steps I do to get your nade back super fast. We're going to be showing some Witch Queen story mission to show you how you do it. Then we might get into some Catch Crash, maybe show you how to, the Liar's Handshake, and then we're going to show how like the I do a lot of complaining in this video about Assassin's Cowl and how it's just not as good as you would think, but I do show some gameplay from that from the Witch Queen story mission, so it's very interesting. You get like a little mix of everything in this video, and I just hope you guys enjoy this. First, we're going to get onto the showcase and how to use this build with the grenades and stuff, and then we're going to get into the gameplay. So I just appreciate every single one of you guys being here, and if you guys want to share anything, I would love to hear your opinion and everything you want to say. If you guys want to explain what you guys are doing in Destiny and what you guys are farming for, put it down below. I'm going to look at them, respond to you, and hopefully we can have some fun. In the future, I would love to have some conversations with you guys in Discord or whatever. I'm very interested in these build crafting and stuff, and I love to hear other people's builds and either try to make them better or add some of their elements to mine. So that just really means so much to see you guys' comments there, because I actually enjoy talking to you guys. It's not the other way around. And let's get on to the gameplay and everything. We're going to show you how to use this. Here you go, guys. Okay, so this is the combo. We're going to start it out here. So I'm going to throw my nade. Dodge. Get in there. I already have my nade back. Dodge. So it's basically just this constant just blinding people and then meleeing them. Gotta unstop here. I'm not running on top shock on enemies. And these jolted enemies, the reason why the champions are really the only thing you have to be worried about is because jolted enemies, when you melee them, will actually be blinded because of how the aspects work. It actually works out perfectly because let's say there's orange bars or even some yellow bars. I think sometimes like some chunky boys that you think you can't kill, you can't stay blinded because you're not gonna get your blinding nade back as much as because you're not gonna be able to get any kills to get the wells. But that doesn't really matter because you're going to be able to jolt them with either your melee after dodging or your grenade. And then you can just keep meleeing those like thick boys. And you actually keep blinding them, which is pretty useful and like a higher content. And sadly it doesn't work against champions. I really don't like how that works, but it's just how it is. Another part of Arc Hunter is knowing when it's time to hide. You sometimes get to a point where you run out of dodges and melee abilities, so the best chance to survive and recover your health is just to hide. You really have to start getting used to hiding behind things, because this build might be able to last for a while, but sometimes the ads run out, and there's only champions to kill, and there's not enough ads to give you health back from each melee kill. So you gotta switch to a wall and get behind it to get recover. This is you have to know when it's a good time to do this. It takes a lot of practice and I haven't even still mastered it. I still die on Arc Hunter all the time, so I'm still working on it too. But this is just a good skill to learn, so that's just it. Stronger for a few seconds in between each kill, but like if somebody's like really strong of an opponent, you're just gonna have to keep meleeing it over and over again, and that amount of time get you killed a lot of the time. And things like Liar's Handshake and stuff like can help make that process easier by healing you too. And also Bombardiers and stuff, like that's a good thing because that the Bombardier is like pre-damage them and blinds them so they won't hit you if you run out of binding. But our melee's already doing that, so Bombardiers I love, but I don't know if they're the best choice. Liar's Handshake do look pretty good though. I do really like those. I show some gameplay in this after this, but this Assassin's Cowl build just isn't as strong as people might think. Like I'm probably not gonna be running Assassin's Cowl and GMs, but you never know. Depending on how strong GM enemies are, I don't really fully know. If it's like an Arc Burn, you might be able to do some good stuff with it, but Liar's Handshake just hits different, you know how it be? And like here, like I don't think like how many melees does it take to kill that guy? Like any other like thing, it would be better. But at least the jolt part of it, like it'll take 3 melees just to hit that guy. Oh my god. You can get out of interesting spots like that, but like it's a kind of a deal breaker when you're trying to kill an enemy and you literally can't because they just have more health. This still works though. I bet like in a GM though, I'm not taking that in. GMs are much harder than I kind of remember them just because of all the arc damage burns and stuff. But the Master Nightfalls really aren't the greatest perception of how hard GMs are gonna be because they brought a bunch of new modifiers and stuff in, which make them a lot harder. Like they might make you spam abilities, but you take like way more damage from like a few different sources, and that stacks with your normal 50% damage buff to the enemies, which it makes it just like an all-around just not fun experience. But I think Master and GMs feel very similar probably now because of the new modifiers. But there's that Titan build where you just spam abilities, which is really fun when you have the abilities thing on, but I don't really, for testing purposes and stuff, like I don't like it. But for actual like GM fun experience for most average players, it's good. People are gonna like it more because they can just throw abilities randomly. I actually kind of changed my mind with what I wanted to do. I switched to Master Catch Crash and I switched to the Liar's Handshake build. I kind of wanted to show off this and how it's actually just better. And I think Master Catch Crash is really good for it because most of the shields are arc shields, so it makes the shield breaking much easier and you don't have to struggle against it. And like I think this I might try this out in GM, but I don't fully know how this is gonna go. I think my Bombardier build is like one of my favorites at the moment. Jesus Christ. Okay. And with this, you can see I'm doing a lot more damage per melee, and it's a lot more consistent with how my my damage is. Even though everything's probably dying for my teammates, but it definitely helps a lot. And then we can 61,000 damage with that melee. So that's taking down any orange bar in a GM, and that's gonna make easy work of champions as well. So this might be the more GM focused build, because I don't know, people that invis crap is way overrated. I definitely would just use this or Bombardiers. This might be better than Bombardiers in my opinion. This is probably my favorite room like ever in any activity. Like this is just such a blast, because there's those high level enemies is everywhere, and it's just, yes. I'm like, ooh, like we get all of our health. Wow, that was weird. I'm pretty sure GM enemies have less than 10,000 health. Jesus! We just one-shotting Resilient Vandals out here. So I probably would be testing this in a Nightfall, a Master Nightfall, but the problem is with that modifier that gives you faster abilities, it kind of defeats the purpose of my build that I'm trying to show off, and that's just not my jam, you know.